Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on TV Channel 10 that's located on Charter Communications Channel 191 and also on WKRX 96.7 FM. My name is Rob Hall. We're glad to be here with you, and we welcome you into the program. We are live in the studio today. The program called The Gardener's Corner, that we cover a wide array of topics other than just gardening, is brought to you today by T.G. Brooks Company, in business since 1936, and also Our Pride Foods, makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese, good spread stuff. And dip. It is some good stuff. Our special guest today is Mr. Paul Westfall. Paul is actually the director for both Person and Granville. I always want to say Castle County. Yeah. Paul Westfall, who is the director of Person and Granville County's Cooperative Extension Service. And Paul makes his home there in Oxford, North Carolina. And we're glad to have him here this morning. Paul has a wide range of knowledge dealing with all different areas of the Extension Service, and we're just glad to have him here this morning. We're going to be talking about several different things today. We're going to be talking about the corn referendum. We'll also be talking about horse health, and we'll also be having a special guest a little bit later on the program today. We'll have a representative of the FFA, and so we're looking forward to that. But, you know, the motto of the Cooperative Extension Service is empowering people, providing solutions. And, you know, with their knowledge and the more or less knowledge that is within their reach by other resources, if you have, you know, any type of problem from gardening to livestock to field crop problems, the Cooperative Extension Service is there for you. And also they have a division that is for family and consumer science. And so they try to cover as big of a array of topics to help out pretty much any and everyone. And so
we do have a wide portfolio, and we help people find solutions. We don't just say, here's what you have to do. You know,
that's right.
A lot of times people have the knowledge and just need to make the connections, and we just try to help them do that, to help them find their own solutions too. That way it's more meaningful when they get that.
Well, you're right. And Paul, a lot of times, you know, I think we all like to think of ourselves as being savvy and smart, but a lot of times it takes someone else to help you bring out those ideas and thoughts.
Right. And then the other thing we do is, you know, we try to update people with new things, new information, and information about new technologies, things, and particularly farmers, how they might be able to incorporate that into their operation to make it a little more efficient and a little more profitable, you know, because, you know, we passed a farmland preservation plan in Person County last year, and we're working to implement that. But, you know, one of the best ways to preserve farmland is to make sure that agriculture and farming is profitable.
Absolutely. You know, you always hear these reports about how many acres of farmland is taken up by residential growth and, you know, maybe a lot of times for commercial growth. Before we start talking with Paul, there's a couple of things I want to make mention. Something that is going on through the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. They are actually going to be having heart health, and this will be the Healthy Living Lunch and Learn. I'll get it right in a minute. And it's actually going to be coming up next Thursday, February 16th. Now, it's a $5 cost, and today is the last day that you can sign up for it, and you have to pay your $5 in advance. Jennifer Grable, the family and consumer science agent, and some of her volunteers will prepare a healthy lunch, and you come to the meeting that will be at the county office building located 304 South Morgan Street. The meeting will be on Thursday, February 16th between 12 noon and 1 p.m. And you get to have lunch, and the special guest will be a local cardiologist, Dr. Tori Bratcher, and she will be talking about heart health, heart disease, and women's health. So you can contact Jennifer 336-599-1195 or stop by the Cooperative Extension Service office. And again, you have to pay you $5 in advance.
One thing about the lunch, you said it's a healthy lunch. It will also be a delicious lunch.
Oh,
So I want to make sure that people understand, just because it says healthy lunch doesn't mean it's not going to be a good lunch.
And
The lunches at these lunch and learns are excellent.
well, and you know, Paul, I'm glad that you made mention of that, because it is a such thing as eating healthy and the food being delicious.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I'm glad that you made mention of that. A couple other things we will make mention of. We had talked a little bit about it last week with the horticultural agent, Johnny Coley, about the fruit tree pruning seminars. And the first one will be on February 18th, which is on a Saturday, and it will be between 9 and 11 a.m. And it will be at the property of K. Stark, and that is located 6639 Hornaciding Road in Oxford. And then they will have an afternoon seminar from 1 until 3 that will be at the new office of the Granville County Extension Office, and that's 125 Oxford Outer Loop. And if you would like more information, you can call 919-603-1350. That number again, 919-603-1350, and that's for Saturday, February the 18th. And then the Person County Pruning Seminar will be on Saturday, February 25th, and this will be at the home of Ken Medlin, and that's located 91 Daisy Lane in Hurdle Mills. And for more information on that, you can call 336-599-1195 to sign up. And you really don't have to sign up, but they would appreciate you letting them know if you're planning on attending. And the time of the pruning seminar at Ken Medlin's place in Hurdle Mills will be from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Again, that will be on the 25th. So just a couple of things, and something that we have started to do here on the Gardener's Corner program. It really depends on who's our special guest of the day, but we try to put out as much information as we can pertaining to the Cooperative Extension Service, because we know that our listeners have a wide array of interests, and we try to, cater to them as much as we possibly can.
Right.
Paul, if you would, you said you wanted to talk about the corn referendum.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about what exactly that is.
Well, the corn referendum is coming up for a vote. Corn growers have been having it's a checkoff program. They pay 1.25 cents per bushel. It's 1.25 cents per bushel of corn that's sold or marketed in the state of North Carolina. It goes to the Corn Growers Association. They use that money to fund research projects. They fund marketing campaigns for to promote using corn in different ways. They use it for some lobbying, of course, to try to get anything that's beneficial to corn growers to pass, or other farmers too. And they also put up have some grant programs that I know Gary Cross with our office has gotten some monies to do some corn demonstration plots from the Corn Growers Association.
Right.
So that money, it's a checkoff program to fund a lot of it goes to university and extension for research and education. So that's very important to the corn growers. And we've got several corn growers here in Person County. some in Granville County, and of course around in Caswell and up in Southern Virginia, and all around us there's corn being
Yeah.
grown, in addition to the other crops. So the referendum vote will be on Wednesday, February 22nd. That's a couple weeks.
Yeah, it is.
A week and a half from now. The polling places will be your extension centers in whichever county you happen to live in. For here in Person County, be it at our offices there at 304 South Morgan Street, in the county office building. In Granville County, it'll be at our new, I'll call it our new extension center. We've been in there since May, but it's on the campus of the Oxford Research Station. It's the concrete and glass building, the only one that looks like it on the campus. So,
Yeah.
but right there next to Oxford Loop Road, you can see it pretty easily as you're driving by there.
Yeah, right there at the intersection of
Old
75. There you go. Thank you.
And
but now,
Oxford Loop.
now so corn growers that want to vote, they need to be there on
Just come there
Wednesday,
during
the
during office
22nd.
hours. Yeah, Wednesday the 22nd, and it's anybody that grows corn or receives income from growing corn is eligible to vote in that referendum. So
And this is field corn and not sweet corn.
correct, field
Okay.
corn. Well,
Right.
corn growers.
Okay. Now, Paul, when you do they refer to corn that is more or less raised for animal consumption, although a lot of the corn that is raised is used for human consumption, but do they refer to it sometimes as dimpled corn?
I've heard it referred to a lot of different ways. Some
Okay.
people call it cow corn, or
Okay.
dimpled corn, or field corn, but you're right. It's most of the corn that's used. A lot of it's for grain. It goes into livestock feeds. There's some food grade corns that go into all the different corn products, starches, corn flakes, all the things they make out. There's a myriad of products that make out of corn, as you know. Cornmeal,
all kinds of things.
all sorts of things, yes, sir. And then other uses for corn, that's been a primary source of biomass to use in ethanol production. So there's been some perceived perceived conflict between using corn that people think all of it should go to food, and some of that's been going to ethanol production, but there really hasn't been a lot of conflict there. There's been
Right.
enough corn to go around.
Right,
Usually,
right.
just look at the corn price and see what that
Yeah.
that tells you.
And something else corn is used to make is alcohol.
That's true.
And I know it used to be years ago, and it still may be some people that makes, do they call it gasohol?
Well, ethanol, yeah.
So
Well, it's ethanol production.
Really?
You're making an alcohol to burn in fuel. You go to the gas pump and it says 10% ethanol in it. And they got some fancier gas pumps now that have higher percentage of ethanol that you can put in your vehicle. But if you get more than 10%, you better have the right kind of seals and gaskets and all in your engine.
So is ethanol what used to be gasohol?
Gasohol is kind of the blended mix of ethanol and gasoline after you put
Okay.
the ethanol into it. So,
Okay. All right.
so-
well,
but the terminology's changed a little bit, I guess.
Well, I know some people in their small engines and things, they like to run ethanol-free gasoline,
Yep.
and you can get it, and it's a little bit more expensive, and which I heard someone's referred to it as lead-free gasoline. So
Well,
I guess it's a lot of different, names and,
Right.
and terms that people use,
Yeah.
for that. But again, to all of the corn growers, and we're not talking about sweet corn growers, but
we're not talking about what's coming out of your garden.
That's
This is
right.
folks that grow acreage, acres of corn.
so the day to cast your vote for the corn referendum will be on Wednesday, February 22nd, during regular office hours. And whatever county that you live in, you need to go to your local extension office to cast your vote. And by all means, make your vote count.
Absolutely.
Moving on to other things,
Yeah,
what
I
you
had
got
a-
on your
I had a
mind?
question for you, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Is your horse ready to go out in public? I know
Well,
you have horses and are interested in horses.
yes, our horses are ready to go out in public for just about 2 more weeks.
Okay.
And the reason that I say 2 more weeks, we had our Coggins pulled on them, I think, last year on February 28th.
Yeah.
And, the Coggins is only good for 12
1 year.
months. And so it's getting time to get the Coggins and vaccinations.
And that's
taken
what I
care
was
of.
referring to is if you're going to take your horses off the farm and mingle with other equine, whether it be a horse, a donkey, a mule, or whatever, you need to have this Coggins report with you.
That's right. It's
If you
state law.
if you go to a trail ride, go to a horse show, or just go to your neighbors to ride on their farm with them, you should have this paperwork with you. It's in your best interest, and it's in their best interest also to make sure that your horses are not carrying or free or clean of equine infectious encephalitis. Well,
Encephalitis.
encephalitis, yes. Yeah. There's some other diseases that we're going to talk about in just a minute, because a lot of times, to do that, I know we schedule some clinics. We call them Coggins clinics, because the test for the Triple E is to do what they call a Coggins test, and we have a veterinarian. We work with some veterinarians, and we'll schedule a day or Saturday or morning, or in our case, we do have one on Friday afternoon over in Granville County. But we have the veterinarians come. People will bring the horses there, and they actually draw blood from the horse and send it off to a lab to check to see that they don't have this disease. And then the horse owner will get paperwork on the horse. The horse is drawn on the paperwork. All the markings on the horse are drawn, hand drawn on there. They don't take pictures, because pictures can be photoshopped, all those kind of fun things. But that paperwork has to accompany the horse wherever it goes if it's put on a trailer and taken off the farm. So it's pretty important that we do that. So I know, Rob, you said you had a clinic set up?
Yeah, I've got one set up coming up in just a little over a week from now. But, one thing that a lot of people, don't realize, when you are hauling your horse up and down the road without a Coggins, a negative possession of negative Coggins papers, any horse show or trail ride that you attend, the promoters of whatever event it may be, they have the right to tell you, if you do not have your Coggins papers,
Right.
do not unload that horse off the trailer, and the
Go
best
home.
thing you can do is turn around
Yep.
and go home.
And I need to make a slight correction.
Okay.
It checks for equine infectious anemia.
Anemia,
Not
okay. Okay.
Not the encephalomyelitis.
And
No, it's anemia.
I'm kind of glad that they came up with the term Coggins, because I
a lot
don't think I
easier
can
to remember.
That's right.
A lot easier to say too.
Yeah,
So,
but-
EIA, that's it. Yep.
But along with the Coggins clinic, vaccinations for horses will also be available, and West Nile virus is something that is really important to horses, because it can be transferred from horse to horse, and it can be deadly. And also another thing, if you are around your horses much, you would like to have them vaccinated for West Nile, because it is possible that a fly could bite a horse and then bite you, and if that horse has West Nile, it could be transferred to a human.
It can.
And I know a few people that has had the West Nile virus.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
And also flu vaccinations, tetanus shots, and also rabies.
Yes.
All of these are very important to a horse's health. It's a little pricey. It's not free, but it's something that you should consider, getting all of these vaccinations,
Right.
because, horses are like people. The longevity of a horse is keeping them healthy. And, it's not necessarily, I'm not too much worried about, my horses making other horses sick. I just want to make sure that we vaccinate our horses to keep them from getting sick.
Yeah, and,
And-
as we talked earlier, if
Yeah.
everybody looked at it that way, then everybody would benefit.
That's right.
But you're right, we have a lot of several vaccinations that we do recommend, and at these clinics that we set up. I've got a couple set up in Granville County, as you know. But the veterinarians that pull the blood for the Coggins test also will have vaccines available. If you participate in the clinics, it's a little bit less expensive than doing it individually. But for horses, we have what we call core vaccines that, these should be given regardless,
Right.
Because the diseases are so prevalent. And you mentioned tetanus, that's out there in the environment, and it's a clostridial disease. It can cause lockjaw, they call the disease. That's an annual vaccination. If it's never been given before, well, they recommend 2 doses and then thereafter an annual vaccination. But the 2 doses should be, 4 to 6 weeks apart initially. We mentioned there's 2 types of encephalomyelitis that we recommend the horses be vaccinated for. That's Eastern and Western equine encephalomyelitis. I'll get
You
that.
sure did say that easy.
I practiced. I stumbled over it. The old saying is my tongue gets around my eye teeth and I can't see what I'm saying.
That
However
happens
works.
with me a lot.
But anyway, West Nile virus, as you mentioned, and then of course rabies. There's rabies out there, and then I know that Person County Animal Control has dealt with some cases of rabies, and in the last year, Granville County has dealt with rabies cases in dogs and cats, and I think we had a cow had it, and well, there's been instances of horses getting it now and then. Foxes, raccoons, bats, a lot of things can carry rabies, and that's it's out there. We do all we can to combat it, and one of the things we can do is make sure our livestock and our pets are vaccinated against rabies.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
this is a good opportunity to get your horses vaccinated. And as you said, it's not free. It's not even, I wouldn't even call it cheap, because usually it's $100 bill or more when you get all this done. It's 25 for this, 20 for that, 18 for that. The vets will tell you what their prices schedules are.
Yeah,
But
I think for the clinic that I'm actually putting on, I'm thinking if you get the Coggins and all the suggested vaccinations, it's $121.
I think it's close to right.
Yeah.
That neighborhood.
Yeah.
So.
But
still, that's still less than if you went to the veterinarian on your own or had the vet come out to your farm to do it.
And see, the reason that a lot of people like attending these Coggins clinics, if you hire the vet to come out to your place or your farm, they typically charge you a service charge. But, another nice thing about these clinics, you get to meet other people with horses, and also you can ask the vet questions, and you can ask other horse owners, questions
Sure.
that you may have, and you may strike up a friendship. But something else, most of the clinics allow people to bring a dog or a cat if they
Right.
need a vaccination, for the dog. It is suggested that you keep the dogs on a leash and maybe have a pet carrier.
Pet carrier for your cat is
That's
a good
right,
idea.
yeah. So, and
But the vets like to know ahead of time if you're going to be bringing pets
Yeah.
to these clinics.
So they can
so they'll
prepare.
have the
That's right.
right vaccines available.
And at the horse shows sometimes we have people to bring their dogs to the horse show, and a lot of people like to bring their dogs and just turn them loose and let them run loose at the horse show. Well, I always ask, please keep your pet on a leash. And the reason being is, I think everybody kind of feels, Paul, that they're just average and everybody does things the same way that they do. And it's a lot of horses that people own has never been around a dog.
That's very, very likely.
And
or a different type of dog.
And that's right. And I'm not necessarily worried about that horse being hurt by that dog. I'm worried about that horse being spooked by that dog, and it throws the rider off, and then in more cases than not, it's more likely to happen that horse could hurt the dog. And so that's why I always ask, keep your pets on a leash.
Well, practice safety.
That's right.
Things.
You know.
Yeah, and then I think it's fine to bring your dog to the horse show, but keep it around your trailer.
That's right. I agree.
Just don't let it roam loose.
And all right, Paul. So your first clinic is for Friday the 17th.
Friday the 17th. This will be the ones in Granville County. Will be at the Southern State Store there on Hillsborough Street in Oxford. Friday the 17th from 2 to 4 p.m. Call the Granville County office 919-603-1350 to set up a time that we can expect you to be there. If everybody shows up at once, then it takes a long time to work through the horses. So we try to stagger them through the time period. And then the next day, Saturday morning, the 18th of February, we'll be doing another clinic from 8:30 to 12, 12:30, somewhere in there. That's at Southern States there in Oxford, and the veterinarian that we'll be working with for those clinics is Large Animal Vet Services out of Youngsville. So we do work with them to provide some clinics.
And so again, that'll be on the Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th.
Correct.
At Southern States in Oxford.
Yes.
Friday afternoon, 2 to 4. I think you had said 2 to 4. Is that right?
Yes.
But you prefer the people to call ahead if possible.
Yes, sir.
And then on Saturday morning between 8:30 and about 12:30.
Yeah.
So.
And then we got another clinic set up for the following Saturday. So that'd be the 25th. Same time that Johnny's doing his pruning demonstrations here in Person County over in Hurdle Mills. But on the 25th, we'll be having another Coggins clinic of 8:30 to 12:30 again. There at the Southern States on Hillsborough Street in Oxford. Again, and that clinic will be offered by Flat River Veterinary Clinic. Dr. Heron and his staff will be working that one. So we like to work with a number of veterinarians, because different horse owners work with different veterinarians, and they like to maintain that what we call the patient client veterinary relationship.
That's right.
So
that's right.
People like to have their veterinarian,
that's
to
right.
work on the horses. So.
And it's not a bad idea to have more or less a friendship with a couple of veterinarians if possible, because remember, veterinarians are just like everyday people. They have days that they take off and go on vacations, and a lot of times most of them are very good about whenever they do take vacation, they have someone that will look after their clients. But it's always good to have a plan B should it ever be needed.
Right.
And sometimes when
and
you call
emergencies happen at
that's
different
right.
times. Always the worst time.
That's right. And you may have an emergency, and you may call your normal vet, and they may be already on an emergency call, and sometimes emergency calls don't go quite as fast as others.
Right.
So, but the Coggins Clinic for here in Roxborough will be on Saturday, February the 18th, and we're going to do between 11 and 1, and we don't, ask for anybody to call ahead or anything. We've got plenty of parking to where first come, first serve. Don't get there and say, I've got to be going in 10 minutes, because it may take a little time before you to get worked through.
Yeah.
But in years past, we've been doing it on Weeks Drive across from Golden Corral. But this year, we're going to do it at a different location. We're going to go out in the country just a little bit, and it will actually be off of Old Allensville Road. If you go to Old Allensville Road, 1296 Old Allensville Road, it will be across the road from there up the gravel driveway. And again, that will be from 11 until 1 on the 18th. And now if it should come up and be inclement weather. It just depends on how inclement the weather is, because we have done them before with snow and ice on the ground.
We've done them with snow and ice. We've done them with sleet and rain falling.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were able to retreat under a roof.
Yeah.
But that was a cold, miserable day that Lloyd Heron still talks about.
Well, Paul, the thing about it is, with these veterinarian schedules and things, it would be nice if they could give you a rain date, but it's just not. But so many Saturdays and things, so you have to work them in, as quickly as you can. So again, you've got Friday the 17th at Southern States in Oxford, Saturday the 18th at Southern States in Oxford, and then on Saturday the 25th at Southern States in Oxford. And for more information on those, you can call 919-603-1350. And then you've got the one here in Roxborough will be on Saturday, February the 18th, between 11 and 1 at 1296 Old Allensville Road. For more information on that, call 336-503-7183, 336-503-7183. All right, and we're going to get a word on for T.G. Brooks Company, and I understand that our special guest has arrived from FFA,
Yep.
so we're going to get her on and talk about what's going on with FFA. But we'll take a trip out to T.G. Brooks Company, in business since 1936.
The calendar says it's February, but we all know that spring is not too far behind. There is time to get some sound advice in February on your spring lawn preparation at T.G. Brooks Company. They have had much experience over the years with individual homeowners as well as professional landscapers. First of all, they can tell you about the advantages of pre-emergent weed control or weed and feed. This is the time to use pre-emergent and, of course, fertilizer, lime, and weed control. This gets your lawn off to a proper start, and this spring you can be the envy of your neighborhood. To beautify your flower beds for spring, T.G. Brooks Company will be carrying hardwood as well as dyed mulches, and they will be selling it by the scoop or by the bag. And of course, you will want to remember, it'll be soon time to use popular lawn and garden chemicals, herbicides, and make plans to be sure to keep them in mind for topsoil, bulk planting soil, potting soil, cow manure, and pine needles. Yes, it's time to plan. They have the equipment you will need for sale or rent. Every kind of garden tool is available, including wheelbarrows, spreaders, power pluggers, lawn carts, and dump carts. They will be ready for you with stepping stones and wall stones, and absolutely the finest grass seed around. They will have all of your flower garden and vegetable garden supplies. When it comes to a beautiful property, rely on T.G. Brooks Company. By the way, every week, remember, they will custom cut you some hand-cut ribeyes, and you can enjoy them on your grill tonight. Person County and surrounding areas count on famous T.G. Brooks Company. 411 Helena Mariah Road in Timberlake. They have been serving since 1936. Phone them at 364-2428.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. My name is Rob Hall. Mr. Paul Westfall of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service for Person and Granville counties is here with us. And also, our special guest is a high school senior from Person High School, and she is involved in FFA, and her name is Alicia Spence. Welcome, young lady. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Appreciate you coming out today and sharing some information with us about FFA. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows what FFA stands for, but in case you do not, it's Future Farmers of America. And I'm sure that FFA is not in every high school in the United States, but it's in a lot of them. And here in North Carolina, we're really big on FFA, and we're just proud of FFA and all of the advisors and directors, because FFA is an opportunity for students to experience agriculture that maybe not had the opportunity in the past to experience. Now, Alicia, tell us a little bit about your involvement with FFA.
Well, I did not grow up on a farm, so it was a big opportunity for me. Right now, I want to be an agriculture teacher, so that was a very big impact on my life. I'm the president of our FFA chapter, so I coordinate all the events and keep the minutes, keep
Well,
it rolling.
Well, good. So you don't come from an agricultural background,
Yes, sir.
but being a member of FFA has kind of inspired you to become a FFA ag teacher. Well, good. We want to wish you the best. Now, David Jones, he's been the FFA, I guess, director
Advisor.
or advisor
Yeah.
for a long time. David and myself went to school together,
Oh, my.
and David is a good guy, and I think he wears the hat, very well. Now, as far as things that are going on, now and in the near future with FFA, through Person High FFA, what all have you all got going on?
We have 2 bologna burger sales coming up. So we have one at Tractor Supply and one at Southern States, and then we have our annual plant sale. And we're also sending 4 people to Regional Rally to compete in some career development events.
Okay. Now, when are your bologna burger fundraisers?
When?
What's the dates of them?
We have not determined that yet.
Okay, you have not, okay. But you'll have one at Tractor Supply and one at Southern States. And when y'all decide and get your date set, if you let us know here at the station, we'll try to, put the word out a few days ahead of time to where maybe some people will come by and support you. Now, as far as your annual plant sales, tell us about that. I'm not familiar with the plant sales of FFA.
So every spring semester, the classes go ahead and start prepping the greenhouse, and we have all different sorts of plants. We also do peppers and onions and tomatoes, and so we also sell vegetables, but we also do hanging baskets and plants.
Wow.
Oh, really? Well, I did not know that. So, hanging baskets, and you do tomato
Tomato
plants,
sets.
and pepper.
We do about 4 different varieties of peppers, 4 different varieties of tomatoes.
Well, now, if someone would want to purchase plants from you all, I mean, how does that work? Do they have to contact you at school, or do you all go out and set up in different locations to sell the plants? Or how does more or less that situation work?
Most of the time, you contact Mr. Jones, and you can come down to school, and you can come in the greenhouse and pick out what tray you want. I think it's a whole tray for about $10.
Right.
So we may be doing a booth or something out in town this year. We haven't decided yet.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that you all done that. Now, does Person County FFA, do you all have a website or a Facebook page or anything?
We have an Instagram page.
An Instagram page?
Yes, but we do not have a
Well, bad as I hate to say it, I hear about Instagram, but I don't really know what Instagram is. Do you, Paul?
I don't do a lot of social media anyway, so I guess I'm anti-social that way. But
I'm sure Kilby knows, but if you're into Instagram, and I'm sure a lot of people are, younger people, check out Person High FFA.
PHS FFA chapter.
Say that again now?
PHS FFA chapter.
PHS FFA chapter on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
I'm sure if you
Look at
Google that, you'll find it.
Yeah, they got the tweets, all this other stuff. I do have a Facebook page and an email address, and I do some text messaging, but that's it for me, Paul. So, but anyway, that sounds really interesting about the plant sales, and I would say that the plants that you all have are very healthy. Now, if they want to contact David Jones at Person High School, you can just call the high school and ask for David, and they'll transfer you to his extension. And it'd be a good way to get some nice, healthy plants and some beautiful hanging baskets, and it would be supporting the FFA. Now, you say that you all are going to be sending 4 students to the regional
Rally.
Now, the regional rally. Now,
Yes.
where will this be at?
I think it's in Raleigh. So we've already done our local competitions, and we've had TJ Ellis, who plays second in the creed. So you recite the creed. So he came in second. I came in second for extemporaneous speaking, and then a girl named Brittany Farman. She came second in prepared speaking.
Okay.
So we're gonna go and
Outstanding.
compete again, and if we place, we're gonna go on to state and then the nationals.
Now, through the bologna burger sales and the plant sales, is that what you all are raising money for to go to the regional rally? Or will y'all be using those funds to help out with things there at school?
Most of those funds go to things there at school, especially starting up the plant sale. We kind of need the bologna money to get that going.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It always takes startup and go money.
Startup money and then continuation money. So, but these
Well-
sales are a good way that the FFA chapter can support that and be somewhat self-supporting on that. So and it teaches the members, the responsibility, some organizational skills, a whole lot of things that, is looking down the road that they can use going to college. They can use, trying to find jobs. So it's a really good life experience in doing these things.
It really sounds like that. Now, with Person FFA, is it any kind of livestock or anything involved in y'all's program here at in Person County?
Not in Person County. We don't have anywhere to really put any livestock
Right.
or raise anything. But we do learn about it some.
Right. And a number of the members have some at home, but they'll participate in the
4-H.
Piedmont Livestock Show through 4-H and through FFA. So
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I know some years back, Orange High FFA, they were really big
Still are.
to the live. Oh, so they still are?
Still are.
So they still have hogs there at school
They sure do.
and goats and things like that. Paul, do you by chance know who's the FFA director up there in Orange County?
I do not know in Orange County. No.
I used to know Rusty Wagner. I say I used to know. He used to be there. I don't know if Rusty's still involved. And then Dave Gibbs, he used to be involved up in Orange County. And they used to put on a music show there at Orange High as a little fundraiser.
Wow.
And the members would cook barbecue. So they would have a barbecue plate fundraiser where you could go and eat and then go to the music
Enjoy
show.
that.
But they hadn't done that in quite some times. But that's really neat. So again, if someone wants to find out a little bit more about Person High School FFA, how do they get on Instagram? What is it again?
PHS FFA chapter.
PHS FFA chapter.
Yes, sir.
And they can find out through Instagram and contact maybe someone there in FFA through Instagram.
Yeah, we put all of our pictures up. Everything we've been doing lately are up on our website.
Well,
That's
you know
not a bad thing because Instagram is mainly photos, pictures, of different things. So one picture says 1,000 words. So they're telling their story through pictures on Instagram.
Well, that sounds really neat. Well, look, lots of luck when you all go to the regional rally, and I hope that you continue and keep the interest and want to be an ag teacher. And I know years ago it used to not be many female ag teachers, but I think
It's
over the
changed.
years it
Yeah.
has changed a
Changed a lot,
great bit.
yes.
And one of the first ones that I remember around Person County was Gina Lunsford.
Yep.
And I remember when she used to be at Northern Middle School, and that's been some years back.
She's
But
at RCS now. She's
but,
an advisor.
anyway, it's pretty neat. So anyway, Alicia Spence, thank you for coming out. And if we can ever help you put out some information to the public, just let us know here at the station, and we'll do our best to try to serve Person High FFA the best we can.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to get a word on for Our Pride Foods, the makers of Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip, and we'll be back with more Gardener's Corner program. Goodness grows in North Carolina, And our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip is made locally in Roxborough. Pick up some for yourself and enjoy. You can get the Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese regular, or for extra flavor, try the jalapeno added. Get some for yourself at T.G. Brooks Company, Supply Line Discounts, North Main IGA, Hurdle Mills Market and Butcher Shop, Twins Meat Market, Food Line, or just Save. Or if you're in Uptown Roxbury and get the hankering for some Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip, you can enjoy it at Cole's Pharmacy, Tricia's Espresso, and Snappy's Cafe. That's Our Pride Premium Pimento Cheese Spread and Dip. Whether you're having it for a meal or a snack, it's good. Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Rob Hall here, along with Paul Westfall, who is the director of the Cooperative Extension Service for both Person and Granville counties, and Alicia Spence. We're glad to have her here with us. And anyway, something that I did not ask about during the interview, Paul, tell us what more or less relationship that the Extension Service has going with FFA.
Well, right now, as you know, Extension oversees the 4-H program, which is another youth development program. FFA is in the schools, 4-H is in the communities. And we run parallel tracks, and sometimes the tracks interweave and go back and forth. We work together a lot with FFA.
Right.
Well, this I was contacted last month by folks over at Person High School, and they said they had this young lady was looking to do an internship. You know, she's a senior in high school and wanted to do an internship and learn more about some of the agricultural things that are going on by the different agencies in the county. So I said, well, yeah, let's talk about it. And long story short, we've set up an internship for Alicia to come to our office, or she's going to be working with the North Carolina Forest Service for a little bit. She's going to be working with the Soil and Water Conservation District. We're trying to see if we can get some time for her to spend with the Farm Service Agency, but and she'll get exposure to the Natural Resource Conservation Service through the Soil and Water District also. But she's just doing an exploration of different facets of agricultural support there by interning with us through this spring semester. So she's coming to see us every day. We're trying to keep her busy doing some things that are hopefully interesting, but also give her a flavor of what say a cooperative extension agent might do on a daily basis. A lot of different things. I think you can already say that. I've got her working on a couple of articles. You know, we talked about equine vaccination schedules earlier. Well, I've got one that I printed off that we put on we've got a bunch of agents that contribute to the North Carolina Horse Blog. So
Right.
I've got Alicia developing an article to go on that. So she'll be published a little bit on the web. So she can put that in her portfolio for the experience. But she's going to be with us through early June, I believe. So we may see her on the program from time to time.
Yes, we'd love to have her out here anytime. So more or less, she's there at the office a couple hours a day.
Right, yeah.
And that way she can learn about what all is involved in the different agencies through Extension. And of course, you know, who knows, she may decide that she doesn't want to be a teacher, but she may want to become an extension agent.
That happens, and it happens the other way around.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
but either way, Paul, you know, whether she decides to become an ag teacher or if she should decide to become an extension agent, she would be giving back.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think that is one thing that teachers they like helping people, and extension agents are the very same way. They're there to help out, you know, whenever needed. And so but that's really good, and I'm glad that you all have a program like that going. And now, is this the first year that this is?
It is.
So
First time we've
new.
done this in collaborating with Person High School and the FFA program here to provide a work experience. So,
Well,
and hopefully it'll go well. And I like the idea that it's going to be not just extension service. You know, we're going to be involving the other agricultural support agencies with this as well. And I think it'll be a great experience to learn, okay, what does the Forest Service ranger do, you know, from time to time? Because, you know, sometimes they get called out on fire. Sometimes they're working in the office developing a forest management plan for landowners. They get all sorts of calls about, you know, what kind of bugs do I have in my trees, you know, and we work with them a lot about, on those things too. And the Soil and Water District does a lot of technical work with conservation efforts and making sure that we don't have a lot of loss of topsoil through runoff and things like that.
Well,
So,
maybe this internship that is brand new, maybe it is something that will go good and continue years to come.
hopefully, yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today on the Gardener's Corner program. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Special thanks to Alicia. I'll never say Alicia Spence. My apologies. Me and names sometimes don't get along the best. Paul Westfall of the Cooperative Extension Service, and my name is Rob Hall. Thanks to T.G. Brooks Company and Iowa Pride Foods for being sponsors here on the Gardener's Corner program. And we want to wish you and yours a happy and safe weekend.